Welcome back to News at 10. One case of Lassa fever has been confirmed in Lagos State. The case, which was diagnosed at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Idiaraba, involves a 25-year-old student from the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. According to the Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, the patient was first admitted for 6 days at a private hospital in the Jokoro area of Lagos State. The patient is said to be responding to treatment. In addition, Professor Adewale urges Nigerians not to panic, as the federal and state health authorities have the situation under control. He also advised Nigerians to ensure improved environmental and personal hygiene at all times. Suspected cases should be reported to the nearest health center. The Supreme Court has dismissed the suit challenging the election of Mr. Samuel Ortom as governor of Benue State. The Apex Court ruled on the grounds that the PDP candidate in the poll, Mr. Teheme Tazo, lacked locus standi to challenge the qualification of Mr. Ortom. Justice Nwale Agwata, who read the judgment, affirmed the election of Mr. Samuel Ortom as the Benue State governor and goes on to award 150,000 naira as cost against Mr. Tazo.
It is the end of the road for Mr. Teheme Tazo of the People's Democratic Party, as his hopes of assuming the office of governor of Benue State was thrown out by the Supreme Court. In a judgment that lasted about 15 minutes, Justice Nwale Ngute says it is only an aspirant who contested a primary election against Governor Samuel Ortom that can challenge his nomination by the All Progressives Congress. The court holds that anybody who did not participate in that primary election of the All Progressives Congress and is challenging the election of Governor Samuel Ortom on the ground of improper nomination is a busybody. Lawyer to the All Progressives Congress applauds the verdict of the court.
The Apex Court of Nigeria is the conscience of the nation. So it's not good that anybody who loses an election would approach the tribunals to use technical grounds to gain victory. I would dare say through the back door. So the Supreme Court has put down its feet to say that no, that shouldn't happen.
Lawyer to Mr. Tazo left the court shortly after the judgment, but lawyer to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, applauds the verdict of the court, saying the commission has been vindicated.
This judgment has now clarified its position as regards who can question a primaries of an election, the primaries of a political party. The judges have clearly, the Supreme Court clearly stated that it is only an aspirant, a person who contested within the party, that can question that.
Supporters of Governor Ortom celebrate their victory here within the court premises following the verdict of the Apex Court. Mr. Teheme Tazo of the People's Democratic Party had appealed the judgment of the Benue State Election Petition Tribunal on the ground that Governor Ortom was not properly nominated by his party, the All Progressives Congress. With this verdict, the PDP candidate has exhausted all his appeals and has to accept defeat in the governorship elections.
You're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television. Up next is Business News with Deshawa Josh.
You first. First Bank.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Business News. I am Deshawa Josh. The Association of the Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria says they take exception to the claims made by the CBN governor that BDCs are rent seekers, engage in malpractice, and continue to increase in number. The group, led by its acting president, Mr. Aminu Wadabe, says it decries the absence of transparency in the transactions at the dollar window. Mr. Wadabe denies the CBN governor's allegation that the BDCs are buying most of the foreign exchange windows. The association calls for heavy sanctions on any operators found culpable in the regulations with DMBs rather than shutting down the FX sales window to BDCs.
On Monday, when Bureau de Change operators received a piece of bad news from the central bank, foreign exchange rates fell to a record low of about 300 naira to the US dollar. The Apex Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele had lifted the ban on foreign currencies deposits into domiciliary accounts while also shutting the official window to Bureau de Change operators on alleged grounds of rent-seeking. On Friday, however, members of the Association of Bureau de Change operators gathered in Lagos to react to the central bank's decision.
In order to justify the decision to stop dollar sales to Bureau de Change, the governor resorted to casting aspersion and criminalization on the business of BDC and created the impression that all BDC operators are rent seekers. We, however, take exception to some of the claims made by the governor in his address. This is not so. There are many BDC doing legitimate businesses as defined by the CBN guideline for the industry and the recent increasing compliance culture of BDC operators on return rendition to the CBN.
The retail traders also came up with a 13-point communique, key among which is the reversal of the CBN's cancelled sale of foreign exchange to dealers.
The issue of stoppage of sales of US dollars to BDC should be reversed. The 35 million caution deposits should be reviewed.
Analysis have shown that the unofficial foreign exchange window accounts for less than 5% of total dollar trades in Nigeria. But 95% of the traders depend on the central bank's window for dollars. Temple Ashaju, Channels Television News.
The Nigeria equities market recorded a massive decline this week as the all-share index plunged 2.99% to 23,514.04 on Friday. Here's Bolaji Akiwale with the day's trading figures.
Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Equities ended the second week of the year sharply lower, displacing January effects. After a 3% loss to roaring bears on Friday, the all-share index fell to 23,514.04, with the market's capitalization plunging to 8.08 trillion naira. With a negative market breadth of 38 decliners to 4 advancers, Guaranty Trust Bank closed at 13 naira 37 kobo. Zenith Bank and Cadbury also slouched about 10%. Tiger Brands advanced by 9.64%, while Nigeria Brewers and Livestock appreciated almost 5%. Guaranty Trust Bank again emerged as the lead volume shocker of the session, trading over 120 million units ahead of Zenith Bank and UBA. Friday's session saw investors selling off 476.65 million shares in 4,448 deals for 6.18 billion naira. And that's it on the Stock Market Report. I am Bolaji Akiwale.
Thanks a lot, Balaji. The price of oil rattled the global market today, with Chinese shares leading Asian losses. DWTV Channels TV correspondent at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, Rich Bart, reports the oil price falling below $30 a barrel is not just a problem for the DAX, but the entire European market.
The oil dropping under $30 is a real problem here because, of course, it signals that the world economy is very weak and triggered to maybe go even weaker still. And people are also seeing a problem in the overabundance of the supply side. The supply side is the major reason why that oil price is falling the way it is. And as of Monday, it's not going to get better, but worse from the situation of the producers, looking at it from their point of view. Because from that point on, Iran will start pumping oil as sanctions fall by the wayside. Good for consumers, good for business to have low oil, but people that I talked to today are fearing real reverberances, real turbulence in the financial markets because of the trouble in the oil industry and because also, of course, trouble for all the countries producing oil. Nigeria is one of those countries which is having troubles.
Let's check out closing figures from some other markets around the world. Well, that's business news tonight. The news at 10 continues in a moment.
You first. First Bank.
The Ondo State Police Command says that it is interrogating 114 people who were arrested after detectives intercepted a truck conveying them in the state. The people were said to be coming from Kebbi State and heading towards Ore Town in Idigbo, local government area of the state, before they were intercepted by the police at Lipakala Junction in Ondo State. While speaking to Channels Television in Akure, the state capital, the Public Relations Officer of Ondo State Police Command, Mr. Femi Joseph, said that 114 men were accosted in Ondo Town.
Our findings so far had not, I repeat, had not indicated that the men had any link with the dreaded Boko Haram sect. But be that as it may, we decided to keep them that yesterday in our custody to further work on their claims, to verify their claims. Some of them claim to be farmers, some hunters, while few of them too claim to be traders. Actually, for real, we saw about 8 dingons in the vehicle. We saw a good number of holes. We also saw substantial numbers of cutlasses. For ammunition, I don't know about that. There was no record of any ammunition found. These people said this thing is a seasonal thing, that every season like that, they do come from the north, most especially during the dry season, to do some menial jobs.
Still heard on the news at 10, the Super Eagles and Watford forward Odion Igalo named English Premier League Player of the Month. That's on Sports News. Do join us again.